Hello, my friends. I'm going to walk through the Flexbox exercise that we had that you've been working on. You've been working so hard on it, and I'm very proud of you. And some of you've requested um, a video on, well, just watching me sort of fumble through it so you can see all the little tweaks that need to happen. And it's a kind of a complex. Complex assignment. There's a lot of different things to deal with. It's not just Flexbox. It's a very practical one. I mean, obviously, a header and a navigation and a footer is something that you see and you will be doing over and over again sometimes. So this is a good one to refer back to later when you need to do something like this. So we had there were two parts of it. One is making a horizontal version and one is making a vertical version. Let's start with the horizontal. So I've already provided code that sort of divides it up into this using the grid just to give it structure for you. And looks like I've got an unordered list here and an unordered list here. So this is supposed to be the navigation, and this is the nav pseudo social media icons. I'll let you try to figure out what those mean. All right, so let's go over to Adam, and here's the code for that. I put some code at the bottom here, and usually if I do that sort of thing, you probably don't, when you see me do this on assignments, you probably don't need to mess with that. It's just sort of to provide you with the starting structure. But up here is where you'll want to add your own code as you go along. All I've done is provide the colors for you. So first thing I'm going to do, I want to see what's going on. So I'm going to turn those borders on, put on that ugly red line. Okay, now we can see what's going on. Now, what I think one of the most important things to remember with this type of assignment is to really take a look at what is nested inside of what. And I think because it's a list and these always come together, the UL and then the LI, we kind of forget that the UL tag is actually serving as a container for the list items. So the UL is the parent, and each item inside of it is a child. And you might be thinking that the navigation is actually the parent of the things that you want to actually arrange and move around, but it's actually the UL that we want to target. And the reason we want to target it and the reason it's important that it's the parent is that just like in grid, when you need to make a container and then declare that container or whatever you want to call it is the grid itself. And then after you do that, every direct child inside of it is going to be considered a list item. And that's what allows us to create different sections and then sort of arrange things inside of those sections because it's only the direct child, so this direct child could be like a div. In grid, we'd probably do that, make that a div, and then it would have a whole bunch of stuff in it. So that's what's going on here. So we need to make this UL Flexbox, the Flexbox box, you could say. Now, one way to do that is you go UL display flex, and that turns it into, now it has the ability, that gives it the power to arrange the list items however it wants. But before we do that, let's go over and take a look. We've got these annoying bullets here, or they could be numbers if it's an ordered list. And let's just get rid of those first. Okay, so I'm going to say, before I do anything, turn that off. I'm just going to say list style none. And that's the property where you could change it to, well, there's all sorts of ones. You could make them circles, squares. There's different options. We don't want anything. We don't want any little dingbats there. So I'm going to save that, go back and look. Yay, they're all gone now. The indentation hasn't gone though. So be aware of that right there. There's some indentation that may or may not need to be dealt with later. All right, so for Flexbox, let's turn on Flexbox now. Okay, I'm gonna put that back on. Da-da. And I'm gonna save and reload. There we go. Now everything is lined up nicely because as soon as you just say Flexbox, it goes, oh, okay, everything inside of here is an item now, and now I'm just, the whole point of Flexbox is just line things up. And you can just, and that's all it does. It lines stuff up, and then you can say line stuff up in this direction, start over here, start over there, space them out this way. It's pretty much all Flexbox does. Okay. So, and there's two different properties, if you remember from the froggy thing. One of them controls how they line up horizontally, and the other one controls how they line up vertically. And the property for horizontal is justified content. And the property for alignment vertically is align items. Okay. So let's do that. So this one let's start with the justified. I want this stuff to be justified. Let's take a look at the example here. Nope, wrong class. Man, internet's slow today. Okay. There we go. So yeah, we want it to be centered. Okay, so let's go over there. And let me also, while I'm at it, pull up this lovely guide to Flexbox. Yeah. Okay. It's got some nice visuals. And we can see here, remember, we're putting this stuff on the parent element. There are some properties you can apply to the items themselves, the list items, and if you want to just isolate one item and control it, you can do that. We don't really need to do that right now. Everything's kind of going to behave the same way. So how would we center stuff? Well, justify content is the property we're going to want to use, and looks like that might be what we're going for. So it would be justify content center. There we go. Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. Okay, but now we got to deal with something else. This isn't what we want down here. These are supposed to go over to the other side. Let's pull this up again. So we need to somehow find a way to select them individually to do that. So this is where our, remember when we combine selectors, we're doing the Brady Bunch thing. You can put them together to get more and more specific about stuff. There's a couple videos on the site that go over specificity. There's all sorts of articles you can look up. Just Google CSS specificity, and it'll explain how all the different ways you can combine them. So if we just say UL, it's going to apply to everything in here. So we need to be more specific. But one thing we can do is we know that display flex and list style none, we want those to apply to both the lists. So we can actually leave that the way it is. Just take that one out. And then we don't have to type it all over again, and we'll just put our specialty styles on the other one. So let me start with the nav space UL, and the space, if you put a space in there, what you're saying is you're sort of giving it the nesting structure, I guess. You're saying look for a nav element, and then look for anything in there that is a UL. So anywhere where in this code you find a nav, there might be more than one, if that nav has an unordered list inside of it, then apply these styles to that, but only if that list is inside a nav. So this is where we would put our justify content center, save. Reload. Yay! So this one, it's not that it went to the wrong side, it's just this one it's being applied to this one, and this one's going back to its regular default. Great. Now some of you were trying to deal with this space around these things by adjusting the flex properties. You may have thought, oh, well, maybe it's not center, maybe it's like space around or space in between, and that's perfectly, like I can understand why we're trying to go down that path. In actuality, what I'd done is I'd put it in the center, but then I just added some padding in there because I wanted them to be centered no matter how wide it is. I didn't want them to be spaced out or squished back in. So that's what I did. So let's go do that. So I'm going to add some padding. Oh, but I'm not adding padding. Watch, I'm not adding padding to the UL itself. That's not what I want. Watch. Let me add some and see what happens. It moved down because remember this line right here represents the UL, the unordered list element, and that's not what we want. We want the padding to be on the individual elements. So let's go back here and take that off. And I'm going to be dangerous here, and I'm just going to say, I'm going to add some, no, I'm going to do it individually. I changed my mind. Okay, so I'm going to say, if I say UL space, if I want to target the list items, and I say UL on the nav only, space LI, that's not going to work, right? Because all of these LIs are inside of UL. So I could do a couple of things. I could say nav.li. That would work. I could say, if I want to be even more specific, nav.ul.li. Depends. I'm going to stick with that for now and see if it works. And then now I'm going to say padding 2M. I can't remember what I did. Save over here. Reload. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we got that going on, but we're not centered in the middle. Like here, see, that's the line that they're actually lined up in the middle. And you might be tempted, let's see. So what am I trying to say? Sorry. So when you want to control the up and down, remember we're using align instead of justify. So to refer back here again, justify controls it on this axis. And then if we want to align things, we're going to align items is what controls it on this axis. So if we want things to center themselves vertically, we're going to use align items. Let's do that. But where are we going to apply this? We're going to go back up to here because remember these are parent properties. Okay, we're still looking at these parent properties for the parent. Remember, the container itself controls all of the stuff inside of it. So we're going to add it to here. Just in the same place we put justify content, we're going to say align items center. Reload. Nothing happened. Why? Why is that? Let's take a look again at our UL. See how it's actually doing what we wanted it to do, but the containing element, the unordered list element, is only as tall as the content. It needs to go all the way down here. If it were as tall as the green bar, we'd probably get what we want. Oops. Okay, so let's do that. So now we just need to change the height of it so it's actually the height we want if we want the things to actually center inside the green. So we want it to be the same height as the green bar. And since it's inside of the green bar, if we say height 100%, then it will fill its container. There we go. Still not centering, is it? What did I do wrong here? Oh, line items, plural. There we go. Yay! And now all that's left is, let's take off the borders, change it white, blah, blah, blah. I'll let you do that. So now that we know what's going on, we can do the same thing down here pretty quickly. It's pretty much all the same. We're going to add some padding. We're going to push it over to the side, and then we're going to extend it so it's the right height. I'll just go through that really fast. So instead of nav UL, we're going to say footer space UL. Display flex justify. Oh, so now justify content. Well, what do we want? What we want here is flex end. So remember, the default is that the flex start is on the left and the flex end is on the right. You can change that if you want, but we want to shove it over to the right, which would be flex end. So flex end, save, reload, boom, there it is. All right. Okay. And then now for the list items, do the same thing. Footer, to add the padding. Footer, I guess I could have applied, that to all of them, but maybe I want to space them a little bit differently. I probably do. I'm going to say padding, and in this case, I'm going to do 1M. That's better. Now, if I want to actually get them centered that way, I think that's what I wanted. Is that what I did? Yeah, see they're centered vertically. We're going to go back and do the same thing. Extend the height. Get the height to fill the whole thing. And that was height 100%. And then after that, now we get to do the whole align items. And there we go. And then you can do the rest of the styling. So that's the horizontal version. I hope it didn't go through that too fast. I'm going to stop this one, and then I'm going to do I'm going to do the same thing all over again for the vertical version. So I hope that helped. Let me know. Bye.